Today, we're diving into the world of distractions. We all know how distractions can provide temporary relief and help us escape from overwhelming thoughts and emotions. But have you ever stopped to wonder if some distractions are leading us away from our authentic selves? We're going to get deep into the heart of distractions. We'll uncover the subtle difference between positive and negative distractions and how some can lift us higher while others might be eroding the very core of our being. I know it sounds dramatic, but it can be pretty toxic. We'll start by unraveling the concept of inner noise, that mental clutter that can leave us feeling scattered and unfocused, making it very challenging to concentrate on what truly matters. But that's not all. We're also going to delve into the unsettling phenomenon of hijacking. You know, those times when external stimuli takes control, leaving us tangled in emotions we didn't choose. And we're going to learn how to navigate this maze and regain sovereignty over our thoughts and feelings. And we're going to wrap this up with the power of positive distractions. Distractions, if you're not mindful, can lead you to becoming a passive participant in your life, while positive distractions can actually lead you to being the creator and the master of your life. And don't forget, while I have you here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you won't miss any videos. As always, I'm incredibly grateful to your presence on this journey of self-discovery. Be sure to join the Thrive newsletter. I have a really big announcement coming up. I don't think it'll go public. We'll see. I'm debating. Welcome to my channel. My name is Francis. I'm a clinical therapist operating as a life coach. And really my purpose in life, my whole mission is really to inspire you to rise above the self-doubt, conquer your fears, and embrace a life of limitless possibilities, free from judgment with full clarity. So let's get to it. All right, so let's understand distractions. Distractions can be described as anything that diverts our attention and focus away from the task at hand, or the goals that we aim to achieve, or the person that we're desiring to become. They can range from external factors like social media, those notifications, and internal factors like wandering thoughts, stress, and worry. While some distractions may seem harmless at first, but they do have the potential to disrupt our flow and disrupt our healing journeys, getting in the way of us conquering our fears and processing our emotions. So my goal in this video is really take you from the surface level down into the depths. So what are the common types of distractions? We know the obvious one, social media. The allure of social media platforms and even video games can actually consume vast amounts of our times, leading us to mindlessly scroll through feeds, losing track of the present moment and our goals. We know this. We get caught up, we get swept up. But much of this absorption of the digital world can actually lead us to feelings of isolation and disconnection. We may even find ourselves going through post after post or playing game after game without any real purpose. It's so important to recognize when these activities are becoming a distraction from the things that could be adding to our lives versus the distractions and things that are taking away from them. And I totally get it. It's so easy to get sucked into the vortex of digital distraction. I'm totally guilty of it, so I'm not absolving myself from this at all. Listen, there is no judgment here. Recently, actually, I received a notification that I was spending like 9 hours a day on social media. I was like, oh my God. I mean, some of it was research, ideas, posting. A bunch of it was like cat and dog videos and funny stuff that people send me, some inspirational stuff. But at the end of the day, it's still a time suck. So we have to find a balance. That's why it's important to really become aware of our habits and create boundaries around our tech use. We need to recognize when we're using digital devices out of boredom or habit rather than out of genuine interest or need. So let's take a moment and reflect. Y'all know I got, some self-reflection questions to help you dig a little bit deeper. Let's reflect on how distractions play a role in our lives. So are you allowing yourself time for positive distractions that bring you joy and peace? And we're going to get into what positive distractions are in the end. Or are negative distractions taking over your life? Alongside social media, We have our lovely notifications. The constant alerts from smartphones, emails, and apps can constantly pull us away from what we need to focus on, or it's pulling us away from our present moment, fragmenting our attention. So I'm really encouraging you to, if you don't already do this, use the DND, do not disturb, on your phone. I use it on my phone to mute a lot of notifications, distractions, and messages, especially when I have to focus on doing important work or being focused with, somebody else, like my partner. So I try to be very mindful about that. So I'm encouraging you to do that on your phone. And it's interesting that, like, some of us, we try to find ways to be mindful. Maybe we're trying to pick up a meditation habit, but it's really hard to do that while also every day being distracted by the intensity of the digital world. So if we want to benefit from our meditations, we have to silence some of the noise. I remember when I did the 10 days at the Vipassana Meditation Center, I talk about it in my Going Beyond the Surface level. So if you want to check that out, you can. It was the first time that I ever did a digital detox. And it was, first of all, it was hard. I literally could feel some of the withdrawals, but it was the most enriching experience of my life. I could literally feel like the cord being severed between me and this digital attachment. Granted, I haven't done one yet since then, which I really got to do one more time, a few more times, maybe put it as a regular practice. But what I have been doing is just taking some time away from my phone, finding myself when I'm about to grab, and I'm like, okay, why am I grabbing my phone? Well, like, what is the purpose? Is it for me to be distracted? So I try to bring that self-awareness within that decision. And I don't always hit it on the nail, but I do my best to be very mindful of that kind of movement. So I'm gonna go off on a tangent here, just a little bit. Do you know what cell means? C-E-L-L. What does cell stand for? Who spends time in a cell? Prisoners. When you're having a hard time putting down your phone, I want you to remember to not allow it to imprison you. Don't let your cell be your cellmate. I'm gonna go off the tangent just a little bit, just to get a little bit deeper. I think about the word entertainment. And so what I did was do a little bit of a deep dive on the etymology of entertainment. And etymology is just really the study of words, because some of the social media is a form of entertainment. I mean, I watch the cat and dog videos, but if you take a look at like sports or any other thing that holds our attention, what does the word entertainment actually mean? Now, I'm not an etymology expert, but there are times I go down the rabbit hole. I get a little bit curious about specific words because I know that the English language is sort of a spell. And that's another conversation for another day. But entertainment creates a container to be contained in some shape or form. And when I looked up at the word entertainment, what it means is to keep up, to maintain, to keep someone in a certain frame of mind. So when you are being entertained, in what certain frame of mind are you being entertained in? And just be a bit aware of that, because it will connect to how you're feeling, and it's going to connect to whether there's a disconnect or a connection. Now, I'm not saying throw everything out the window, stop being entertained, stop all these things. All I'm saying is whatever you're engaged in, do it from a state of awareness versus a state of distraction. All right, are you ready to go deeper? Let's do it. Let's get a little bit deeper, because it's only through depth that what change can actually take place. So let's dive a little bit deeper about this, because this is the meat of it. Now, we work to the surface level, but a much deeper form of distraction is our inner noise. And what do I mean by inner noise? I think y'all might know in which direction I'm headed, but the inner noise that I'm referring to is how our minds can become cluttered with thoughts and worries, also known as mental chatter or mind clutter. Refers to the constant flow of thoughts, emotions, and inner dialogue that fills our minds throughout the day. It's sort of that background noise of our thoughts that can become really overwhelming and so distracting, making it very challenging to concentrate on whatever's in front of us. And it gets in the way of that desired life that we're desiring to create. And this, as you already know, negatively impacts our emotional well-being. So what is the nature of the inner noise? As I said earlier, it's a wide range of thoughts, including worries about the future, regrets about the past, self-criticism, to-do lists, planning, daydreaming, and random associations between ideas and everything else in between. And usually this could be both conscious and unconscious, meaning that some thoughts may arise involuntarily without our intentional awareness, because what we find is that we've created many habits around the inner chatter of our minds. Because of this inner noise, it leads to lots of mind wandering where our minds drift away from the present moment and whatever we're focusing on. This wandering can often be triggered by external stimuli, or again, simply emerge spontaneously. I had this client who had a really hard time recalling information. She was really concerned about it. And some of that was from her disassociative habits. And disassociating is just when we remove ourselves from stressful situations as a way to cope with whatever is too intense to cope with at the moment. But what happens is when we do this enough, it actually impacts our ability to retain information. So we can often blame ourselves for not being able to recall certain information, but really it could just be that we've just really trained ourselves really well to quietly leave on a mental level so that we can protect our emotional state. What's even more interesting about our inner noise is that it causes us to have difficulties in decision making. Some of you might be struggling with making a big decision in your life. And what happens is when our minds are cluttered with inner noise, decision making actually becomes more challenging. We may struggle to weigh options objectively and may be influenced by our emotions and worries versus, again, being objective. So we really got to clear out that clutter, y'all. We got to do that. All right, let's get to some self-reflection questions. So here are some ways to reflect on your own inner noise. What recurring thoughts that pop up in your mind that distract you from you? What themes are you noticing? What's coming up? Where can you trace some of those themes to the source? And when you're distracted, what are the associated feelings? And this has two parts. So the first part is what feelings are coming up while being distracted. What feelings are coming up for you after feeling distracted? Like, is there shame after you notice that you're off track? Remember, you cannot shame or guilt your way into change. So remember that. Sometimes the distractions that we engage in come from a very deep level of avoidance. Hence, reaching for your phone, binging on Netflix, or even emotional eating. Emotional eating was my vice. It was a huge distraction for me feeling my feelings. And I started to recognize that. I can now make a balanced decision from a state of awareness and say, okay, I might entertain this feeling with a specific kind of food, recognizing with total alertness what I'm doing. And I can also decide not to do that, because when you're coming from a state of awareness, you can make a really clear decision, because the disconnects comes from doing it from a place that lacks recognition and acknowledgement. And usually that can often bring more shame into the equation. Let's go a bit deeper, because the next thing I'd like to go a little deeper on is hijacking. Hijacking is so crucial, and it's a really huge part of being distracted. Who or what is hijacking your time and your emotions? You know, you're fine 1 minute, things okay, then you go on social media or you end up watching something that is either news driven or someone shares something violent, or someone close to you says something, and for that moment, they hijack your emotions. You spend maybe 15, 20 minutes or longer getting angry, feeling sad, and your whole mood is jacked up. Constantly exposing ourselves to negative or emotionally triggering content actually takes a toll on our mental and emotional well-being. Granted, if it's your relationships, it gets a bit tricky, but even that is taking a toll on your emotional well-being. So let's talk about the news. The news hijacks your emotions. People say, oh, I need to stay informed. For what? To do what? Politics hijacks your emotions. People say, well, I need to stay informed. Again, for what? To do what? People send racial disputes, and that hijacks your emotions. People say, well, I need to know what's happening to my people. Again, for what? To do what? Here's the thing. When your nervous system is regulated, when you're balanced, when you've done a bit of healing work, you can notice things without being emotionally hijacked. However, if you're still trying to regulate your emotions, if you're still trying to understand your own triggers, if you still have some unresolved trauma, then engaging in those kinds of distractions isn't very helpful for you. I'm going to share a story for you. So a lot of my work is in social work. I spent a long periods of my life doing activism. I was trained as an advocate. I'm a social worker, advocate, clinical therapist, advocating for my clients, doing all these things. But what I found out over time that I was literally being hijacked by the movement. And one of the things that my mentor had said to a friend of mine was, be careful how the movement moves you. Be very mindful, because how the movement moves you, is it coming from a place of fear? Is it coming from a place of anger and hatred and intense, low vibratory emotions? There's nothing wrong with anger. Anger says, hey, I'm activated in some shape or form, and it can be very useful. However, long periods of those kinds of intense emotions damages our nervous system, period. And so for me, I really had to take a step back and evaluate, like, whoa, what is going on here? Do I have agency over my emotions? Do I have agency over my behaviors, my thoughts, my decisions? Whose decisions are these? I really had to do a deep dive and take inventory, because I didn't want external stimuli to be dictating my life. So when you're constantly caught up and being swept up by external stimuli, let me ask you, when do you actually have the time and the energy to care for yourself, to focus on your own healing? Our nervous system plays a crucial role in how we process emotions and respond to stimuli. If our nervous system is not well regulated, external triggers can actually easily overwhelm us and hijack our emotions, leading to stress and emotional dysregulation. So let's reflect a little. I got you. We got some questions, to ask ourselves, to go deeper on this topic. So let me ask you, how often do you find yourself being emotionally hijacked by external stimuli, such as social media, news-driven content, your friends, your family? Reflect on specific instances when you noticed your emotions being strongly triggered, and consider the impact it had on your emotional and overall well-being. Next question. Are you mindfully consuming information and content, or do you tend to engage in unconscious consumption? I want you to reflect on your social media and news consumption habits and identify areas where you could practice greater mindfulness and awareness. Last question. Have you taken the time to engage in healing work and self-care to regulate your nervous system and emotional responses? I want you to reflect on whether you have prioritized your emotional well-being, and consider how investing in healing practices could help you better cope with external distractions and emotional triggers. I say this with lots of love and zero judgment. In moments like these, which will you choose? And how do these choices reflect on who you're on your way to becoming? When you're focused on doing you, when you're focused on creating the highest and the best version of yourself, anything that distracts you from that journey needs to be reevaluated, and oftentimes they need to be let go. Okay, so stay with me. We're at the end of this video. Now we're going to get into the power of positive distractions. This is key because we need to combat all of that negativity, all of those distractions that are keeping you very much disconnected from yourself. I see positive distractions are like rays of sunlight that pierce through the clouds of negativity and doubt. They literally illuminate our path towards personal growth and fulfillment. They are those activities or thoughts that captivate our minds in a constructive and purposeful way, leading us away from unproductive or negative thought patterns. Ultimately, these positive distractions create connection instead of disconnection with self. Imagine a situation where you're feeling super overwhelmed and super stressed out, worrying about stuff that might be pretty challenging. Positive distractions can actually offer a respite from this mental turmoil by engaging you in activities that bring you joy and purpose. For instance, when I'm talking to my clients, I mentioned how can you immerse yourself in hobbies like painting, musical instruments, writing, journaling, whatever, anything that provides a sense of flow and contentment, because these positive distractions not only, again, give your mind a break from all the worries, but also allow you to tap into your own creative essence, fostering personal growth and a sense of accomplishment. It's like now you're creating, because we're creators. We're here to create. We're not here to be passive. Positive distractions act as beacons of inspiration, drawing us away from the mundane and leading us to explore new interests and learn valuable skills. We really go on that path of self-discovery, discovering things about ourselves that we did not know existed because they laid underneath all of those distractions. So as you can see, positive distractions contribute to our overall well-being. It promotes relaxation, it reduces stress, and improves mental clarity because you're actually doing something that you enjoy. You're doing something that's bringing you contentment, fulfillment, and it's tapping into that serotonin. So activities like meditation, yoga, all those are positive distractions. Spending quality time with loved ones and creating moments where you can just find some peace and deep connection. By intentionally indulging in these positive distractions, we actually recharge our emotional batteries and gain the strength to face challenges with a clearer and more focused mind. You see how it all just comes full circle? These actual positive distractions really support you when things get really hard. They actually provide a balance in a world that can sometimes feel very overwhelming. They serve as reminders that life is not just about the hustle and the bustle, but also about finding joy and fulfillment in the present moment. So I really encourage you to incorporate whatever positive distractions that you can find into your daily life, because by doing so, it's going to cultivate a higher sense of self, healthier relationships with technology and external stimuli. It creates room for personal growth. Right now, there's no room for your personal healing journey. And in this process, it really supports your self-discovery and helps nudge you along on the pursuit of what truly matters. I want to leave you with this. To become the creator of your life, to no longer be the passive participant, it's essential to make mindful choices about how you spend your time and your energy. Instead of reaching for distractions that numb your emotions or keep you stuck, try embracing activities that nurture your well-being and your personal growth and adds to your healing journey. Connecting with yourself is key to breaking free from disempowering distractions. Practice mindfulness, self-compassion, all those beautiful things to cultivate a deeper understanding of your thoughts, your emotions, and your needs. So when you feel the urge to distract yourself from the discomfort, because it's all about avoidance, try sitting with those emotions instead. And I want you to just embrace them with kindness, again, with curiosity, knowing that they hold valuable insights for you on this healing journey. Positive distractions are helpful tools for finding balance and relief. Remember to stay present and stay mindful. Choose to connect versus to disconnect. I really hope this video was helpful. And if you found it helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. I really appreciate it. Just spread the message of mindful living and being the creators of our lives. Remember, you've got the power within you to really literally shape your reality. I'm here to remind you that. So thank you for watching. Subscribe to Thrive, the newsletter, and I will see you on the other side of wholeness.